Welcome to the Courageously Candid Coaching Podcast. I'm Matthew Radley, CEO of MRA Executive Coaching, and this is the podcast where we say it as it is, where we are courageous and candid combined. In this episode, we'll be taking a unique and systemic view of board and executive development combined, something that is rare in organisations and yet adds significant value when delivered with due care and attention for the individual needs, team needs, and combined needs of both audiences. This podcast is about commitment, serious commitment. My guest today is Alison Hands, CEO of one of the most successful cooperatives in the UK, a style of organisation that has governance at its heart and the best interests of members as its foundation. Alison's values-led leadership approach, including her intention to always step into the most challenging of conversations where needed, is what brings her thinking and expertise into this arena of best practice here today. So welcome, Alison. Lovely to have you with us.
Thanks, Matt. Good to be with you.
Okay, so talk to me about your relationship with MRA. When did we first connect? Why are you still sitting, I guess, in a chair and being present in the podcast today? Just give us a little bit of an intro to that.
Okay, well, I think I first came across Matt Radley Associates when I was working for Boots, actually. And I think that first interaction, I was a leader that was sponsoring one of my team through a development program.
Yes.
And actually, that particular leader actually works in my business today. So that's why it's quite amusing, actually, to sort of think that we're still here after all that time. So that is probably, just trying to think, that's probably somewhere in the region of nearly 10 years ago that we first came across one another. And I think I really appreciated, when I saw that as the manager in that particular space, the importance of the work that your business does, the work that you do, and how it takes people on that sort of coaching journey. And I was lucky enough to do that myself with you when I was at Boots, and then continue to work with you across a number of the businesses that I've worked in at different levels, whether it's been personal coaching and, most recently yourself and myself doing some work as I transferred into being a chief executive. And for me, the reason that I'm still here working with you is because I think the relationship that's been built over that time and that trust that has been built has been really important for me personally as a leader in my personal coaching journey. But I also think that the style in which you approach it has been really relevant for the teams in which we've been trying to work and build and develop. And that's really powerful.
So what is the greatest tension you feel in your role then?
In
your role, think individually, think personally, not just about the role, but actually I guess there's a little bit of you in this. What's the biggest tension you find in a role as a CEO of a cooperative organisation? And a very successful and scalable one.
Very much so. I think probably the biggest tension is you are trying to get a lot of people to align behind one thing and to really be all heading in the same direction. And it's quite interesting because we've had a strategy day this week with our board, and we did it in a very, very different way. Because traditionally it's been very much the exec have gone and presented, said, here is our wares, and they've said yes or no. And we've tried to make it far more together, working together with the right sort of questioning in that to really build on some thinking. God, it's hard. 6 executives, 12, 18 people sitting around the table trying to align behind something. And we've got I think, a very, very clear purpose. We're very much about how do we support with energies, ideas and resources to make life better in communities. My God, trying to get under the skin of what does that truly mean? Because people kept talking about members and I'm saying, but the purpose is communities. That's a bit different.
Say members, it's tension.
And so the tension. And then also, I think people really recognising that it's very important in today's world, and as every business is going through this, right? It's very challenging. We all know that. We've probably got the highest level of challenge that I think economically we've probably ever seen. Of course, this country, we're very good at finding a way through, and retail particularly is very good at finding a way through. But this is hard yards that people are finding, and it's almost trying to maintain financial sustainability and not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And that is why joint alignment of where you're heading is so important. But when you've got 18 people trying to work that out, that's quite hard.
Pretty hard, yeah. And psychologically, best practice would suggest the team should be 4 or 5. So 4 or 5 versus 18, therein lies a challenge.
It does, yeah.
So talk us through, how long have you been in post now?
2.5 years.
2.5 years in. So we're here today. You have a tenure ahead of you. What does it look like? How do we take people on a journey from a strategy day, coordinating around one vision of the truth with 18 people? Where are we going next to embed that? What's kind of coming up for you?
What we have seen is a board that is very comfortable with some of the things that were laid down. Some of it, they won't quite understand necessarily the impacts and consequences of that. Okay. So part of where we're at is, okay, we're going to go away, we're going to work up some of these scenarios, and we're going to come back round the table and we're going to have another conversation. So you really get under the skin of this, because part of the skill in all of this is being able to, it's a bit like coaching, ask the question, go a bit deeper, and I think sometimes it was a bit superficial. So we're going to do some of that questioning and lay it out. And then let's really see, is this what we mean? Because that's what it looks like. Is that what it means? So that will help to stimulate our forward trajectory. As I've said to the board, we are also having to do some stuff to fix the now. That's going to keep going. That, we are now starting to really rock and roll some of that stuff out, which I'm really pleased about. That starts to happen. But are you really clear that this is where we're going and on that journey? And these are the component parts. You might shift around a little bit as we're going through it, but that is the journey that we're looking to just past 2030. Happy with that? If you're all happy with that, but let's check it and then let's work through it.
Okay, Alison, so one of the challenges you're talking about there, as we said, of group sizing and gaining alignment between 18 individuals with 18 independent brains and thoughts, and we need to get to one conclusion. So with your sort of skills and expertise, how do you do that? How do you create alignment in 18 people?
So I think the core of how you have to do it has to come through some forms of questions, really going deep to understand what people mean, because sometimes language and what people say isn't what they mean. So it does require a lot of challenge. Let's just go, what do you mean by that? Tell me a little bit more about that. So it was quite interesting, actually, in the session that I was talking about. We put some very clear questions in, some stimulus, some questions, trying not to be too leading the witness, for people to come in with some thoughts. But what you realise when you lay down what you think as somebody that works in the business every day is quite clear, isn't. So it does require question, counter question, a little bit more about drawing it out. So it does use a lot of coaching skills to really try and draw it out. And what it does is it then starts to create, well, I never thought that either, of that person to the side. I never thought that. You saying that has actually made me think, oh, this. So it does take more time, but it's time that's well worth it. And it's also, and I talk about this a lot, it's progress over perfection. Okay, so if we had sat there on day one and everyone had gone, yeah, no, we all agree, I don't actually believe them. I wouldn't have believed them. And it's going through a process of, let's get to this point, then let's talk about what were our lessons out of that and what could we do better next time, so that we collectively moving forward on a journey. And the more people feel invested in that journey, I think the nearer, the greater it is that you're going to get to that forward position. But yeah, so I think that's how I try to do it.
There's a sense of, I guess, a sense of depth is what I'm hearing. A slower pace, a deeper place, a depth of understanding that then creates a new reality that maybe we wouldn't have otherwise had. So if you were coaching you right now,
Oh God, I wouldn't want to do that.
What question would you ask yourself with that context?
Yeah.
In the system that you find yourself in, the tension between elected, non-elected, selected, ELT, etc. Mindful of the ambition, 2030, 18 people in a room, one vision. There's a lot going on there. So if you were coaching you, what question would you ask yourself right now? And take a moment of silence if it's helpful.
That's fine. Yeah. I definitely, it's a question I ask myself a lot anyway. What's my priority? What is my priority in all of that?
What is your priority in all of that, Alison?
My priority in all of that is that I think we've got a phenomenal purpose that we want to deliver. And I can see where the needs are in the community. So, and they're pretty well established. The needs in the community for us are very much around housing and healthcare. I've always said the same thing. And in knowing that that's where we want to go, our direction of travel has to be focused in that space. And in asking the question of the team, I suppose my question of myself is, am I always confident that the team are all heading in that same direction? And if they aren't, what am I going to do about it?
I mean, it's interesting. In fact, out of most of the podcasts that we run, what I'm hearing so much is like the purpose piece. And it's a sort of a non-negotiable purpose, because the purpose isn't for the organisation, the purpose is for the community. So it's pretty tough. A tension between commercial deliverables and community impact. There's a tension there.
There is, but I think one of the things that, for us, it's probably a little bit different, maybe because we are a place-based business, So that means that our community is quite a distinct community. I mean, not so distinct that it's completely just one type. It's not. But it is a bit easier when you're not trying to manage it on a national level. But we have to deliver financially to enable our purpose. So one of the things, we're an asset-rich business, but one of the things that I said to someone, if you don't make a profit, we won't have any money to invest. You can't do what we want to do in the community. So you have to sort of talk about it in that sense, So we are purpose. Our profits don't have to generate as much as maybe some businesses. But we still need to make a trading profit, because that trading profit will get reinvested. But it's one of the reasons why, from a more marketing perspective, we need to be talking more to our communities about the reason that you come to us is because our money doesn't get taken away and put in someone's pocket. It gets reinvested back into your community. Yeah, lovely. And that, I think, is quite an important sort of understanding that probably people don't really get. And I think we need to talk about it and shout about it. Because, we are obviously a lot more than food. We're funerals, we're post offices, pharmacies, travel. But and quite a big property business. But one of the things that I've tried to, you can go and buy cheap food if you want to from Aldi and Lidl. This isn't an advert, by the way, but that money is going back to shareholders and it's going back to Germany. Great. Or you could come and buy from your local co-op. You could, therefore, you're investing money back into your local community. All of the produce is primarily sourced from the UK. We need to really work hard on that, because food security for the UK is going to be a big challenge. And I think that's massively important, that we continue to work and develop in that. And from our own perspective, we work quite closely with the local university, which is one of the top 10 agri-tech development universities in the world, not the UK, in the world. Amazing. So we're doing that because we're ensuring, local jobs, but also food security. And the other thing that I think is massively important, that idea of the local shop is quite important, because from a sustainability perspective, you walk to the shop, you buy the stuff that you need for when you need it, rather than going and doing a big supermarket shop and then bunging it in the bin at the end.
Interesting. So I'm just tracking back through, as you're talking, through your career and how I've sort of followed you along the way. And as you as you kind of come to this point in your career, in the last 2.5 years, what's the one thing you've learnt about yourself as you have transitioned from the more corporate to potentially the more purposeful style of organisation? Give me a nice, short, succinct answer. I have learnt this about myself.
I think I've learned I'm extremely resilient.
Now talk to me about how you give resilience as a gift to others.
Oh, it's funny you should ask that, Matt, because I had a conversation earlier this week with a member of my executive team, actually a member of my executive team that one of your coaches has coached in the past. And we talked about the importance of knowing when to just shut the computer and go home. I think when there's a lot going on, and this is what I mean about resilience, when there's a lot coming at you, it can get very easy to just get completely embedded in your own head. And then the self-talk kicks in, and it all just becomes overwhelming. And I honestly, I think why I talk about resilience is when you're in a place-based business, which is a big place-based business and is an important part of that local community, it can be even more overwhelming because everybody looks at you and it's all very close. It's not like a national business where to some extent you can sort of hide. You can't. You can't hide. You're walking along the road and someone will look at you and like, oh, I've seen you in the local press. So it is important that knowing when it is getting a bit overwhelming and knowing, right, that is the moment. Drop it down, go away, go and do something else. Get yourself away from that moment. Take some time to just reflect, whether it's meditation, healthy meal, nice cup of green tea, whatever it might be, whatever it is does it for you, running on a, treadmill or whatever it is, go and take yourself out of the environment. But it's knowing when is that point, and if you can't do it yourself, start to build a network around you that tells you it's time to go, and then come back and face it the following day fresh. And I'm going on holiday next week, and my team all know when I go on holiday, I come back and I'm like really re-energized. But I'm also really have been thoughtful about a number of the things that are going on and where we maybe can do some things differently. And I'm trying to instill that a lot with my own team so that they don't just keep running at that brick wall, but they start to think about when's the time to close the laptop.
And as we come to the end of this conversation and we close the laptop, as it were, metaphorically, give me an insight into your ongoing development. So you've had an amazing career. You're at CEO place now in a fantastic, purposeful organisation. It feels like you've found your place in a weird kind of way, having followed your career for a bit. So talk me through what does the development activity look like for you personally as you continue your career?
Yeah, I think the purpose stuff is really important to me, as you know, and you're right. I think I have found that place, and I think my development is very much now starting to spread out into different arenas. So the fact that place-based piece and being very much at the centre and a key stakeholder in a local community means that actually you're starting to have different conversations. And also, as I said, strategically, some of the areas we're going into are healthcare and housing, completely different to what I've ever done before. And I think my development is learning much more about how I deal with people in different industries. Because sometimes some of those public sector areas are a little slow, which can be quite frustrating when you're a commercial beast like myself. So it's learning how to deal with people in a very, very different way, where motivations are different. And I think really trying to bring some of the best of me into different environments. And I'm really excited, if you like, really for the next 5 to 10 years. But then I do remember a conversation we had where you asked me, did I ever want to be a CEO? And I said, no way. So all I'd say is, watch this space.
There's a new agenda playing out. Who knows? Okay, Alison, that was superb. Thank you very much. And as we sit here in this very moment, coming to the end of the conversation, is there anything you would like to say that you haven't yet said, or anything you'd like to share that you haven't yet shared for the benefit of others?
I suppose the thing that is a key thing for me that I think is really important that everybody that's listening to this really reflects on is the art of the possible. I think and reflect a lot back and about bad coaching experiences, and because in that space, a lot of it would have been in the past where not with MRA, but with others, where I've almost gone through a sheep dip approach, which asked you to reflect an awful lot on the things that made you the person that you are. And although those were bad, and they were bad, there was part of it in all of that made me start to really believe in what could be true. And if I think back to 11-year-old me, when people say to you, think back to that person, what would you tell yourself then? Well, if I go back to 11-year-old me, I probably lacked confidence and never thought I was good enough. And believe me now, I don't ever think I'm good enough, because I think you should always be learning. But I almost have to pinch myself to think where I've got to today and what I'm doing today. And I go back to, you should always believe anything is possible. It's just about who you surround yourself with, who you talk to, listen to, where do you get your real challenge, and be open to challenge, because it's being open to challenge that truly enables you to really find the art of the possible.
We'll hold on to the art of the possible. Okay, Alison, thank you for bringing your truth into this conversation. That was exactly what I was expecting it to be. Nice and provocative. Well done. We'll look forward to having more conversations in due course.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
If today's episode resonated with your own experiences, take it not as advice, but as a mirror. We'll be back next time with another coaching conversation that dares to go deeper. We look forward to seeing you then for some more courageously candid coaching conversations.